What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to MD Fish Tanks. I'm MD and these are my fish tanks. So here is the tank in all its beauty. We've got 120 centimeters across at something high. Oh, I should measure this, shouldn't I? Hang on. Okay, tape measure. I don't know where I put it, so I'll just use that. I mean, for someone that builds stuff quite a lot, you'd think that I'd have more than one tape measure that I can never find. But anyway, this will do. So hang on, let me just measure it. Here we go, 50 centimeters high. We're 50 centimeters high and 53 centimeters across. So just go with 50, 120 centimeters. It's some volume. I don't know. I'll put it up on screen what all the gallons and volume and all that is. But anyway, right. So remember me saying last time, this whole stand was actually attached. Well, you can see there where I haven't painted it. That's where it was attached to the side of the shed, the old studio, and this side was also attached, hence why it's not painted. So if I just put some more 2x4 across this section, across that section, across that section, and across that section, and what that's going to do then, it's going to pin it to the top. It's going to pin all of these. Basically, it's pinning everything together. You won't get any movement then. And remember, there's not going to be a huge amount of weight in this because, just like before, the water level will probably only be up to about there. Maybe a little bit higher actually. I do like to have quite a bit of water, and it's going to be fast flowing, so it will create quite a lot of splashing if you like. So we don't want it too high, but yeah. So I just need to cut up some wood now to fix to here and here. Most people would think, oh well, we'll do that in the daytime, but it's night. And you know me, I don't want to wait, so do it now. Right, that's everything painted up and looking smart, guys. Really nice. So, as someone mentioned on the last video, what I need to do now is actually pull the whole thing out. Not hard to do, it's fine. And actually clean those suction rings off the back, because if I fill that with water and leave those there, that's going to be a disaster. I think I needed more of a gap as well than what I've left there, because I also need to have my pipes coming up from my canister filter to loop over. I'm going to have canister filter for main filtration, and then I'm going to have small internal filters with the, you know, sort of foamy part removed. A power head is what I'm trying to say. Power heads at the bottom, just pushing water around in those, into that circular motion. I'll probably do one down here and one over there. I think that'll be the best way to do it. Plus, if I keep them nice and small, like you know, sort of like that size, then I can hide them with rocks as well. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you see them too much, you know, but we could try and hide them as best we can. I think that'll keep the best sort of illusion then that it's free flowing. The only thing I am going to have to do is obviously have a wire coming out of the power head in this corner, because obviously I want one in opposite corners, one there, and that will keep the circular motion. So I'm gonna have to bring a wire up and bring it back down, but I think I'll get those little suctions and just keep it nice and tidy. So there's not much more you can do really. I suppose I could maybe use some silicone beading or something, I don't know. I'll make it look good anyway, so it's not like destroying the whole look. Now we can get our rocks. We've got our rocks from before, which I'm going to recycle. I'm going to get them all together so we can actually get a nice, good selection. And it's easy to pick the best rocks if we've got them all laid out in front of us. So I will lay them out here. Ah, damn it, started raining again. English weather. So the first thing that we need to do is lay down some protection for the heaviest rocks that are going to be going at this end. So for that we use some of this sort of, I'll just show you. Got a bit of a selection there. So some thicker styrofoam. Some people worried about this being like toxic or anything. It's not, it's completely inert, so it doesn't hurt. And it's going to be covered up with sand and gravel, so you won't even see it. But I think if we start off with something like that, that gives us a nice little sort of base to work with. We start bringing the rocks in on top, moving around, selecting what we want where. We basically want tallness. That to me is a good basic framework. That is all solid in place. I haven't actually had to silicon any of it. The tap test, bang, bang, bang. The jump up and down test, the bumping into it test, all good. So basically when you're laying rocks on top of each other like this, what you want to do is get as maximum surface area connected to another rock as you can. Let me give you an example. Come all the way around. That's so cool, look, you could just move all the way around. Oh, let me just go this side. No, we'll come back this way. Okay, so that is an example. That's a perfect example of what I mean. So maximum surface area, a ton of surface area. You just look at the natural sort of angles and shapes and just use them to your advantage, because that's how they would lock in nature over millennia or whatever, or even longer than that. But you know, eventually the perfect piece of the puzzle slots and it locks in. So that's how it would actually happen. So not in a fish tank, in someone's shed, but that's irrelevant. So the reason I've stopped at that height, okay, so water level is going to be around about that high. And notice I've kept it low here so we could have it more sort of, I'm going to grade it out so there's lots of sort of sand coming up to this with lower, smaller pieces of gravel like you see on the corners of rivers. Is you often see a sort of shallow area, and I think that'll look really cool. I don't know what I'm doing with my hand or what that means. So the wood framework can come on top of this now. This can be the platform for the wood, and we can use the gaps in the wood to plant in our ferns again, and obviously cracks as well. But if we use that, we can fill the voids and make it taller using a skeleton of wood rather than rock, which is a lot safer and also just much better for being able to get the water through the roots of the ferns. So what I'm going to do is my canister filter, I'm going to bring the outlet up here. I'm probably going to bring it over, and I might just have a little pipe crossing that way, but I'll bring the wood over this way with ferns on it and that, so you won't actually see it, which will be cool. Yeah, I hadn't actually thought that I could hide I'm just making this up as I go along. I can hide the outlet with a long piece of wood, attach it to that, and then we can wrap sort of like mosses or fern or whatever around that, or the ivy. That'll work perfect. The ivy going up it. Yes, we're in, guys. Okay, so next step, fill in all the little holes and stuff, lock them in place with smaller stones and just sort of grade it out towards the edge as we go. So we've basically got a nice pile of graded rocks. It already looks cooler, doesn't it, I think? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Anyway. So I'm really happy with that now. Like some of these smaller ones here I've just placed in, but they won't stay there. But it's easy to arrange that sort of thing once we've got the gravel or sand in for the base. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to use yet, so I'll leave that for now. But the next step will be laying the skeleton frame for the wood that would sort of come down from this side and sort of flow down like that. But to do that, obviously, it's going to be creeping out of the top. So I need to remove this light now and put it where it's actually going to be, which is about there. So I'll have one there, probably turn slightly in, and then I'm going to have one here as well turn slightly in. So let's get on with mounting those. I don't do anything fancy with mounting these. These are nice cheap lights. They cost like £40, which is about $50 US, roughly 53, something like that. Anyway, nice and cheap, and look at the amount of light you get. They're really good, all Pond Solutions. I think it's the equivalent of Sun brand in America. So yeah, I don't do anything fancy to hang them. Just a little bit of fishing line on a little screw that's put into the wood, just a tiny little bit. They don't weigh anything, so it's absolutely fine. So yeah, let's get those hung up. Should start looking very different with the tool on there, but obviously I'm increasing the height and distance away, so you know it's not actually going to be increased brightness, I don't think, on the rock. Or maybe I'm talking rubbish and it will be. We'll see. Definitely the right choice, guys. Look at that dual lighting. Here come the sound effects. Yeah, so slightly tilted inwards, which is, you know, what that means is that when we're back here, we can't see the full glare from the lights. You can on the far one slightly see, but as you come down, you can obviously. But you know, this is a sort of viewing height, so bit different for filming, but that's okay. You know, I'll deal with that when it comes. But really nicely lit now on all angles. It needs to be brightly lit because obviously there's going to be all the ferns covering up certain areas, and we need to make sure that the light is bright enough so that even in the shaded parts it's still light, if you know what I mean, because I want to put, you know, ferns under the water as well, like, you know, Java ferns and everything. There won't be a lot of planted stuff in this tank at all because this substrate's going to be shifted around by the fast flowing water. So all of it's going to have to be stuff that sort of you stick into gaps in the rock, like Anubias and Java ferns and different mosses and that. So yeah, that's where we are. Let's get some wood in now and we can start building some sort of framework with that. Look at me, just, what is this? Whoa. It's almost like that piece of wood was made for the tank. Like some of the gaps you see here, you won't see because I'll fill them in with different things, different ferns, plants, mosses, all that sort of thing. But yeah, that looks wicked, doesn't it? That's really sort of, it's real like a statement, isn't it, really? I've also got more wood, look, down here. Got some more to put in. We'll just find some little places for that so it's not just a branch, although you do see that in rivers, don't you? You do see a branch that's just floated down and just got caught up in a bunch of rocks, but I'd like to see some details of a little bit coming through as well, so I'll probably add a little bit more in, but that is looking really good, isn't it? Loving it. Okay, so yeah, fill in some more details now and then we can get some sort of substrate in. All wood in, look, there's a 360 view, and if you notice I put this other extra little bit here so I can sort of keep that flow going and as you know, as if it sort of creeps all the way around, because that's the way the water's going to come as well, bringing it around that way. I've used this piece here just to lift this edge slightly, just so we've got a little bit more room for our ferns to go in. Substrate wise, so I've decided what I want to do. I want to use the stuff I've been using recently because it works really well and it looks natural as hell. This is the Hugo Kamishi natural sand, so it's a little bit more coarse than just your usual sands, which I think will just get blown around in a high flow. And then we've got the Rio Zingu from Denelay, which looks awesome anyway, and that will blend in really well with these stones. So let's get that in now.
Sky's beautiful and so are you. I wanna make it up to you, start something new. Yeah, I've been thinking of the parts I played for you, and how I'm drinking from the bottle as I do. It's like a long dream. You're on the wrong team. Oh, there's a light and there's a fire coming out of me every time I see what's to destroy.
So that is, you know, all the hardscaping. The next job is to fill up the water level to where we want it, because then I can set, like, you know, the canister filter inlet high. I can set the internal pumps for, you know, to create the water flow. I can set all that. So yeah, we'll do all that good stuff after we filled it up. So now we've got some water in the tank, we need to start getting some flow going on. It's a bit murky at the moment, but that's to be expected. You know, it's pretty much brand new substrate. So once we've got our filters and that on, that'll all clear. But I was going to be putting a power head this side and a power head that side, but I've just found an old power head I had, which is actually runs at this. Oh, the end's at the top. Yeah, I just open it up and that just to make sure it's all good. This is an old one. I've had this for like a year. Well, it's old to me anyway, but that is nearly 2,000 litres per hour. I'm not sure what that is in gallons per hour, but I'll put it up on screen. Anyway, if I put that this side, that is going to absolutely power the water across. And what that means is I'll get really high flow one side, and then still high flow around this side, and then sort of tapering off to this side, which I think is important because we need to give like any fish sort of a rest area, if you like. You can't just be constantly high flow. So because I was just going to have a constant, really fast circle, but I think this will work well. So let's get that power head in straight away, and we'll just, you know, test it out. We can have a little look then, and just see how it's performing and see if I've made the right choice. Whoa! That's well good. Right, well, I think that's looking like brilliant. I don't know about you, but look at that. That is fast as well. If we go close, look, you can see all the bits just blasting across. And it's not too intrusive as well. I think that's about right. Because I was going to get one of those wave makers instead, but they're about the same size as that, to be honest. And with it turned sideways, I can angle it up like that, and I think that looks really good. So let's check out the other side as well. So as it comes around here, look, we've still, yeah, it's coming around nicely, still quick. And then, yeah, still fast here, look. Still, you can see by the particles in the water, look, it's still fast flowing. And look, bits flapping around. Yeah, that's good. So like I say, look, they've got this is what I thought, yeah. A more gentle side, and then they go around the corner, they've got a real fast flowing side. So that's brilliant. We'll keep it at that, I think. Maybe I can add another one if I really want to at a later date, but I just think that's brilliant to give the options. One side's real sort of raging rapids, and the other side's more sort of tame. So the next job we can do now we've got the water in is get our canister filter section in the middle here, so we can start to bring the outlet part to come across all of this top area where our terrestrial ferns and mosses are going to go. Right guys, so this is the pipe that's going to be onto the outlet there, and then it will sort of twist in and out of this section. I'll probably cut it short to about there, I think, and then block the end up with a hot glue gun and just like spiral it inside so it blocks it. Then we can just use a drill with a small drill bit just to perforate holes all the way along it, and it'll just give us a nice even sort of spray bar, if you like. It's just a flexible spray bar, so it works a treat because I did it in the previous setup that I did that was similar to this. I don't know if I mentioned it already. The 4-foot Aqua Terrarium. I'll leave a link to it up the top so you can go and have a look at that build if you want as well. It's had a 250,000 views so far, so yeah, it's probably worth a watch. No, it's probably worth a watch. I guess people are enjoying it. God, I'm such an idiot. Anyway, yeah, let's get this on, and then we can get the plumbing down to the canister filter on as well. I think it's safe to say that that's working, if not too well. I think I might plug that little gap there with just some of the hot glue. I mean, what are these two doing? Nothing really. And it needs to be spraying onto the rocks. Yeah, okay, I'll plug those. Voila. Right, that's all the wood framework in place. What's left to do now, all that one slipped down, I'll just lodge that one back in, but what's left to do now is bring in the ferns, start planting or placing. So here's where I've been keeping all my ferns that were in a previous setup, in the tank beforehand actually. As you can see, I've got so many of them, and they've just been sat in the sink with some water, just taking some water in from the roots, because look, I'll show you here, look. I keep them in this packet and all their roots have grown through so that it can, you know, take water and nutrients in, which is great. But yeah, let's get these into the new tank. There's all the immersed plants done, guys, and I think that is looking sick, don't you? Look at that, look at the You are spoiling the shot. Naughty. I'm kind of loving how much green there is above, yeah? But I'm thinking it looks so good and natural without plants underneath. So I think I'm gonna keep it really minimal and just go for a few little key points where I wanna put some Anubias and just the odd little bit of Java fern, nothing too much. I think it's more real this way, you know. Maybe that's just because of the rivers in the UK. We don't get plants under under the water. It's all above the surface like you see there. So people watching this in a more tropical climate are probably thinking, put plants underneath it. Yeah, I think a few little bits of Bucephalandra, your classic basically epiphyte plants which attach to stuff that don't require planting. So Anubias, Bucephalandra, Java ferns. Yeah, I might put a few little things in. I think what I'm going to do is go for the perimeter stuff, so right on the border of the water. Just keep it nice and open here at the bottom so we can really concentrate on the fish that are going to be in there then. Or what I'll do in a minute is I'll go there, get the plants and just pack it out, because that's what I'm like. Okay, so I think I want to leave it at that in terms of greenery submerged under the water, because I don't want to detract from the natural beauty of the rock. So let's just enjoy that. Right guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. A lot of planning and effort went into this one. I basically built this whole studio because I knew I wanted to do this tank. And in the next video, we're gonna be adding the fish and a few more details. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed, hit that bell, and then you're not gonna miss that. Also, I've got so much more space in here for even more tanks now, which I will be doing. I'm gonna have about 10 big tanks in here, plus my nanos. So yeah, get involved. Leave a comment as well and a like if you can. And I'll catch you on the next one.